our stories. I'd like to start by just playing you a very short clip from Roy William Ashley, because I would like him to be here tonight with us. He's a senior Wagalub cultural custodian and a legendary songman.
That's my little bit sorry for this country where I'm singing. You make me sorry this country. My heart is crying for this country. Kaya dapat punya kon, awalan akon. Walau dia kuangan, kemil kerakubunan. Nggak tinggal dia kuangan, akon crying for this country.
He's the one man, the last man, he got a song for this river.
So, Roy William Ashley I've known for many years. He's a senior cultural custodian for the Wagalub people and a legendary songman, and he's deeply concerned about whether the songs and stories that he holds are going to be effectively transferred not only to his grandchildren but to the generations to come. So why is he concerned? Why are the songs and the stories that Roy holds and wishes to transfer important? The song lines that cross the Australian continent are epic poems, have been referenced as the great classical music of this land. And they hold incredible libraries of information and knowledge relating to kin and skin relationships and clan boundaries and language, dances and ceremonies, and social responsibilities and obligations, not just of people to people, but people to country. They were left behind by the creation ancestors that travelled across the country, bringing all into being. The songs were laid down in the country in the particular forms and features of the landscape. And they're being lost at an alarming rate, just as languages, Indigenous languages, are also being lost at an alarming rate. So the songs are sung in language, and if the languages are lost, then the songs too are lost with them. So Roy is a funeral singer, so he sings the songs for the Wagalub people when they pass away, and the song serves as an astral pathway, if you like. So when Gunjalala, the sugarbag hunter, the major creation ancestor for the Wagalub people, brought all into being, he travelled from Blue Mud Bay in remote northeast Arnhem Land, and he brought multiple features of the landscape into being as he travelled across that region. When a Wagalub person passes away, Roy sings the song along which the spirit of that person is shown or revisits the entire clan estate as the spirit is returned to the beginning, to the source of all things for the Wagalub people. So Roy is particularly concerned that if these songs are not held for the future, then the spirit of his people, the spirits of his people will be lost. The songs are also sung to honour the ancestors and for regeneration purposes. They hold vast amounts of ecological knowledge and information, and they support the living of the community in a sustainable and long-term relationship with the planet. So not just Roy, but many of the elders and the cultural custodians with whom Sharing Stories works are desperate to ensure that these song cycles are recorded for future generations and that knowledge is available. They're not only concerned about holding this information for future generations of their own people, but they are very keen to inform and educate the broader Australian community so that there is a deeper understanding of and respect for Indigenous culture and connection to country. So how do we work to support these aspirations? Well, we work with communities. We travel on country with communities, with custodians, with songmen and women, and with young people, where we support and facilitate the capacity for intergenerational transmission of stories and songs on country. We work with kids to show them how to use GPS tracking applications on iPads, how to film and record their elders. We later look at that material with them and we work with them to reinterpret it through animation and to cut their own short films and so forth. So basically, oh my goodness, do I get an extra 30 seconds? So what we're here tonight to ask you to support is that Nakama Marhuila, who's a senior Leogalin Jambapingu custodian, who's also on the board of directors of our organisation, him and his community want to record the Muka, the giant green sea turtle hunters, ancestral dreaming track that travels from Padai in remote northeast Arnhem all the way up into the Wessel Islands to Bamaka Island. We want to record that with the community to transfer the skills to the community so that they can continue to record their own stories and songs. Depending on if with 10,000 we can do that, with 20,000 we can start to cut that material into packages that the community schools can use for teaching and learning purposes. We can start to translate. We work with brilliant Indigenous translators who are song men and women in their own right, so they can draw up the subtle nuances and the deep meaning of these songs as opposed to a literal translation to make them more broadly available to the public. We work with ESA Education Services Australia then, who write the metadata to map these resources to the Australian curriculum to speak to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives priority area across the curriculum, which feeds those selected bits of media that the community want to share to 250,000 teachers and 3 million students across the country. So we're also working to, as well as build community-based cultural archives, to change the perception and consciousness of the Australian public.